everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
I'm Chris Yee.
Today we're taking a look at the Tesseract. The Tesseract it's always a bad thing when it shows up in sci-fi movies. It's some fourth dimensional cube or whatever.
Right.
I'm sure that it's healthy and fine in this one. We've
It's
not
not.
been exposed to gamma
It has
radiation.
appeared in our sky 6 days ago, above the exact magnetic north of the planet. It's the size of a city blocks. It's collapsing, and once it finishes collapsing, we will all die.
Makes sense.
That's a good thing.
It's going to happen. This is realistic.
This is a cube of dice in this
Right.
game. It's a cooperative
Loose.
game in which you are going to have these dice, and you are trying to manipulate this cube. These dice are falling off the cube, sort of. It's not a. You know what? I'll just show you how to play it. We'll be right back. So you're going to build this cube area here, and you do so with this. It is actually pretty easy to build. It's going to be sitting, let me show you the mechanisms of this, on kind of this nice ball bearing thing. And when it's on here, it's pretty sturdy. I mean, the rule book's like, don't spin it fast. I'm like, well, no kidding. But you build this. And this is going to be causing breaches. Dice are going to be coming off this and being placed down here. You'll notice these are dice. They're going to be, this is a number 1, this is a number 6, this is number 2. They have different numbers. And if you ever have 3 down here, you'll cause a breach. If you have 6, you cause 2 breaches. You cause too many breaches, and the Tesseract destroys the Earth. When you get to the bottom of this, there's going to be there's different bottoms. You can play a higher number, and these are negative effects. What you're trying to do is you're trying to fill this entire containment grid over here, a 1 through 6 in each of the 4 colors. Now, at the beginning of the game, each player has a role, and there's quite a few roles in this game. Each of them happens all the time. Whenever you transfer a cube, or a cube is transferred to you, you can adjust it, you can change the value. Action, package. So everyone has an always-on ability, and everyone has one that they can take as an action. Take 2 cubes of the same color from the Tesseract and place them in your lab. So you have all these different abilities that you can have. So you can pick one of those. You're also going to have a lab in front of you. At the beginning of the game, the 4 corners are going to be removed up here, and they're going to be put into each person's lab, and maybe some more cubes are going to come out depending on the number of players. On your turn, you're going to have 2 actions. One of those actions can be to take a cube off the Tesseract and add it to your lab. When you take a cube off the Tesseract, it has to have 2 open sides, or 3 open sides, which includes the top. So I can start taking these corners as time goes by, which is good because the Tesseract's going to start destroying stuff that's lower if it can help it. It's going to take the lower numbers at lower levels and then the lower numbers. You can also adjust when you have dice in your cubes. You can make them go down 1 number, or you can make them go up 1 number in value. And contain. I should mention, you can give cubes to other people, and you can give cubes back and forth, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to contain. To contain, you need to have 3 or more dice that have either the same number or run, like 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, and they have to be either the same color or different colors. If this is the case, you'll take one of those dice and you'll put it here in the containment area, which is important because that's how you win the game. Also, you'll be able to destroy a matching die, so if you have an exact same die down here in the primed area, you can get rid of those. And you can adjust these. When you adjust the prime one, destroy it. When you contain a cube, destroy an identical prime cube. So the cube that you take out will go there. The rest of the dice you leave behind, but you have the option to re-roll them to take a tech card. Everyone's going to start with a level 2 tech card, actually. And you can spend these cards whenever you want on your turn. Like this one lets me draw 3 unused character cards. Play this card to use one of their abilities at no cost. But you can also upgrade these cards and get better abilities. Take 1 cube from the Tesseract and place it in your lab. You can adjust it. Or this really good one here, skip the threat phrase or decrease the breach token by 1. Those are both good. Bringing the breach token down by 1, or skip the threat phrase that happens at the end of every player's turn, where the lowest value, lowest die is going to come down into this primed area. Now, there's a little bit more going on to the game than that, but you're working together as a cooperative team trying to, as these cubes are coming out, more and more cubes are going to be coming off the board as time goes by. And once they start revealing the bottom here, those are really negative things. And meanwhile, trying to fill this up as much as possible. Now, whenever you put 2 dice in the same column, you'll reveal these cards there at the beginning that were put there. You'll reveal it. And when you put 4 cubes in, this goes off. Each researcher takes a destroyed cube, re-rolls it, and places it in their lab. Well, that's kind of handy. These cards are going to be different every game. You'll have different technology cards. You'll have different cards here. And, of course, the way that this whole thing is built and put together is going to be different. But that's the game. You'll either win or lose. Now, the gimmick of this game, when I first was interested in it, was a cube of dice.
Right.
And in fact, and Joey just found out there's metal dice. He did not know they existed.
Yeah, they're heavy.
But metal dice are plastic. But the idea of dice, I was, first of all, very impressed with how easy it is to build it.
Yes, it's kind of like, I felt like I was doing pool. It's like you're just racking them, you know? It's like...
Shake, 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 shake.
And then every once in a while you have to push it down. It's rewarding.
And the little ball bearing thing that holds it on does a very good job at it.
The Laser Susan is fantastic. Also, it's made of clear plastic. So I played with just the spinner, watching the ball bearings do their magic for about 10 minutes.
Really?
That makes sense.
You were like,
I believe you.
You were like, hey, set up the studio for the review. And I was, I should go get the card recording on.
But it's a really, it's good, and it's neat that the dice, I was worried that they would fall off easily, or that'd be some, cardboard thing. It's pretty sturdy. I've not seen it fall off in a game yet.
No, and it doesn't wobble that much either when you twist, because I was afraid, as it gets heavier at different sides, it's pretty stable. It's good. I mean, I would spin it.
And the dice, the plastic dice in here, I think are very good quality. I like the art. I like the look of the game. I think the production for this is very good.
It's phenomenal. Very readable dice, too.
And
when you have dice with those kind of zany symbols on it, my biggest fear is going, sweet, the Z, and someone be like, no, that's a 2. Right?
Well, that is true.
Very readable.
I do like the dots, how everyone is like an actual number, too. That's neat. But I do like the fact that they chose good colors. We slam games because of the colors are too close. They chose good colors for these dice.
And you mentioned the numbers. I often give dice garbage about that, but I'm not rolling them in this game, and they're also printed out there, so it's not too hard to see them.
Yes.
And it gives you a good theme feel.
The game gives you a lot of variety. There's a lot of different characters to pick from.
That's what I like.
It's very much, you think about these games, it's very pandemic style. It does follow your traditional cooperative game. Do some good stuff, bad thing happens. Do some good stuff, bad thing happens. And this game kind of follows that pattern. And then also, but you have a special ability, you have a special action, and so in that regard, I feel like that part is kind of cookie cutter a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I like the asymmetric, and you have to play, like Pandemic, you have to play to your abilities. Some people just mainly help, and they're able to throw more die back and forth. You've got to play to your character, and I do like that.
So my biggest problem with the game is that because everything in this game is completely open, there's no hidden information, all the cards are out there, there's a puzzle to be done in the middle. There's a puzzle. As you spin this around, you'll be like, this is the die that I should take, that it will now give me this set. And when I make this set, this is the die that I will move, because the leftover dice can become a different set to do this.
Yes.
Cool. In a solo game. In a multiplayer game, and you can say it's not the game's fault, but definitely any group where someone is really good at these kind of puzzles, this game is very easily alpha gamed, I think. I sit there and struggle and go, it's so obvious what you should do there, and you don't want to run the game, though. You know what I mean? You don't want to run other people's turns.
Right. You want to let them make their choices, but sometimes it's hard when it's so. I don't want to use the word obvious, but when you very much see something that they don't. But I don't know. I do believe in just kind of letting people take their turns.
It's even more than the alpha game for me. It's I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the puzzle with it, but it can create severe, debilitating AP. In the fact that,
yes.
And it's like, and beyond anything, I've had people that don't suffer from AP, and they'll lock up because you've got so many decisions. Not only that, the next one, because as you take a die out, you reveal another one. Then you've got those. There's so much going on. It can slow to a crawl, and if people suffer from AP, it'll be even worse But it's rough.
And if you're the person who can kind of see the steps first, you don't want to be the person who's over speaking and be like,
Right.
this is what you should do on your turn. Oh, if you just grab that orange die with this, then you're set.
But the game kind of encourages that a little bit because there's things where, give me one of your dice.
Yeah.
I can give you this die.
Yes.
Here's how you need to use it type situation. And I haven't had any bad experiences with the game, actually. It's worked out fine, but I could see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sitting there, I know I would bite my lip sometimes.
Yeah, a good group that loves open communication like that. This is good for that. I call this like the war room. The big sit around the table. Everyone's throwing out ideas and stuff. Right. That's that type of co-op. There's no hidden
Right.
information. It all just collaborative.
I was going to say for difficulty level, I've only played on maybe the second of those bottoms. I won't go farther than that. I think the game is not impossible. I've won it, but it is. To me, it's very challenging. I have no desire to up it into difficulty in the stratosphere.
No.
But I think they did a good job including, I think it's 6 levels of difficulty.
Yeah.
And when level 2 or 3 is already like, this is challenging and, like beating that already feels like a reward, that's good because I don't have to play at levels 4 through 6. But the people who are just going to sit there and grok this game and then play it over and over again, there's more challenge to be had. But I don't feel any shame being like, let's play level 1
And there will be people that feel that way. I think there will be people that enjoy that puzzle so much they'll want to go through it and progress.
And I said at the beginning it was like a cookie cutter game, but one thing I think that the game does really well is the bad stuff that's happening is kind of a trickle of doom, if that makes sense. It's just slowly, dice are being added. You're like, not a big deal, and it just gets worse and worse. But on the good side of things, sometimes you can do some fun combos. I get to use my special power, and now I'm playing this card, and because I have these two the same color, I can move this. It just feels really fantastic, especially when you start filling the columns and grabbing those extra cards that do things. It gives you a lot of rewards for doing well. And your abilities, a lot of cooperative games, your abilities often get worse or there's not as much cool things to do. You're playing this strongly to the end, I think.
Right.
I think that for me, my favorite part is that tension of keeping, if I make a set of 3 of a kind or whatever it is, keeping some of those, or is it, now remind me, make sure I'm saying this correctly.
Re-rolling.
You get rid of all, you re-roll the dice and then you can get that upgrade card, that action
Which you
card.
really want to do.
Right, because keeping a bunch of 3s is the obvious. Oh, that's so easy. We can just pump out all these 3s. But re-rolling them to get those cards are huge, and I think that's where it breaks out of the cookie cutter-ness of the co-op, general kind of formula, is making that sacrifice play to get sometimes a level 4 card is the difference between winning and losing.
That's huge. That study action is one that's fairly ignored. But getting those levels up, they're game changers.
They're really powerful on the top end.
Yeah. The basic ones are right. They're good. Hey, fun little extra thing here, there. Those highest level ones are huge.
Because you feel like you're wasting an action, but it's worth it at the end.
I'm giving this game a 7. I find it to be very enjoyable. It's a good cooperative game with a really neat theme. That being said, the theme is a Tesseract cube. And that theme disappears almost instantly once you start playing. It's a cool theme, and it's a cool gimmick and a cool device. I think there's going to be a lot of people who aren't as interested in it because it's a little mathy. I like the math. I think it's fun. But even when I'm finished playing, I'm like, great. That was a good time. I had a good time. What else are we going to play? I don't want to keep on playing it over and over again. Sometimes I like maybe a little bit more story in my cooperative games. So this sounds negative. It's not. I think it's very cool, very interesting. I don't think it's going to appeal to everybody, but I liked it a lot, and I did like the gimmick of the cube and the spinning it.
I agree.
I'm coming in just a little bit lower. I'm coming in at a 6.5. The reason for me is that all the stuff that we talked about is fun and interesting, well-designed, well-balanced, levels of challenge. All that is really well done. I found that the first half of the game for me is lackluster. I just feel like there's not enough tension and not enough excitement. But the biggest thing is that the puzzle is so open-ended at the beginning. Do we want to go for 4s first? Do we want to go for 3s, purples, yellows? It really doesn't matter. When it's about the last half and especially the last third of the game, the tension ramps up. You having all of these combinations of dice might not mean as much. You want to actually re-roll them to try to get 5s because we're short on 5s. It becomes more interesting as the game goes on, which is a good thing, but I feel like it's uninteresting for a little bit too long for me. The first half of the game, it's so open what to put out there into the solving area that I just want that part to go by faster. And then it becomes interesting. So it's as much good as I have to say about it, that opening arc, it's going to prevent me from pulling this one out as much as other cooperative games. So 6.5 for me, still good, still so much positive. I'm just not recommending it kind of blanket-wise.
I agree. I'm actually coming at 6.5 as well because I did enjoy the game. I think the table presence is incredible. I love putting them together. Asymmetrical powers, the study action, it has a lot, but I just don't see it hitting the table because, number one, the AP and the thought and the locking up, I enjoyed it, but I don't know how often, if ever, it's going to come back to the table. And that, for me, keeps it right below officially recommending it. That being said,
metal dice, would it go plus 7?
Metal dice, I mean, that would, wow, we're talking up there. But I mean, I see people that will gravitate to this, with metal dice, of course.
There's no gravity in that.
There's no gravity in Tesseract.
Okay.
Right.
This is pretty low-key.
Well, there you go, folks. That's Tesseract. Definitely going to appeal to some people. I think this puzzle a lot of people will enjoy. So check it out if you think it's interesting. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Joey Evans.
And I'm Chris Yee.
And we are intelligent enough to shut down the Tesseract.
Hunt it down.